Open the door, or I'll break it down, he said, trying to keep his anger in check. I won't open it, she said in a low voice, and Ayat finally opened the door. Mohsan quickly turned around, grabbed her arm firmly, and stood her in front of him. What is this nonsense? Are you out of your mind? Why did you do this? Mohsan demanded, his face close to hers. Stay away from me, she said, pushing him away and crying again. The story of Mohsan Khan and Hayat. Ayat came into the room, shut the door, and sat down crying. Why did this happen to her? When she wasn't ready to accept her relationship with Mohsan Khan, everything was fine. But as her heart began to soften and accept him, she began to feel an attachment to him, seeing him as hers alone. However, it was at this moment that excuses started to appear in their relationship. She didn't want to, but she started having mixed feelings about Mohsan Khan and Hania. Mohsan Khan and Hania had been friends for a long time, and she had never cared much about how close they were. But now, after her marriage to Mohsan Khan, Hania's closeness to him bothered her. Her foolish heart couldn't bear to see him close to anyone else. She was torturing herself out of jealousy, but Mohsan belonged to Hania. What did she gain from it all? Nothing but tears. She sat there, staring at her hand, which still held the lingering warmth of the man who had betrayed her. Mohsan, you didn't do right by me. I should have understood that your love, your gifts were all a joke. Yes, a joke, because you've always considered me a fool. You must have thought that this silly girl would never understand, so you could play with her heart as much as you wanted. She muttered to herself before covering her face and crying. Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door. Ayat, open the door, Mohsan Khan said gently, but Ayat remained silent. Ayat, open the door, he repeated, a hint of pride in his voice. But Ayat continued to let her tears flow in silence. Mohsan kept asking her to open the door, but she pressed her lips together, refusing to respond. Mohsan's heart began to sink, fearing she might harm herself. Ayat, he shouted, banging on the door, but there was no answer. Open the door, or I'll break it down, he said, trying to keep his anger in check. I won't open it, she said in a low voice. Ayat, stop being difficult. Come on, princess. Open the door and tell me what's wrong, Mohsan said, his tone softening as he tried to hide his frustration. This small girl had him at her fingertips, forcing him to bend to her whims. If you don't open the door, I'll call Uncle and Little Aunt right now, Mohsan threatened sternly this time. That seemed to work, and Ayat finally opened the door. Mohsan quickly turned around, grabbed her arm firmly, and stood her in front of him. What is this nonsense? Are you out of your mind? Why did you do this? Mohsan demanded, his face close to hers. Stay away from me, she said, pushing him away and crying again. Mohsan was both shocked and worried. His anger quickly began to fade. My sweet princess, please tell me what happened. Why are you crying? Mohsan's heart softened, seeing her like this. Her tears were like drops of cold water that cooled his anger, replacing it with love. This foolish girl had become his weakness. Why should I tell you? Why would I tell someone who played with my heart? Ayat said, sobbing. What are you talking about? Speak clearly, Mohsan said with an earnest look. Why are you pretending to understand now? I already understand everything. It's always the person who causes pain who acts unaware, Ayat replied, looking at him with angry, tearful eyes. What story are you making up now? Did something I said upset you? Mohsan asked, smiling lightly, thinking she was just waiting for him to say sorry like she usually did. His assumption left Ayat shocked. She realized he was treating her pain like a joke. Her heart was breaking, but he found it amusing. Ayat glanced at him, and for a moment her strength wavered. Mohsan quickly held her up. Don't touch me. Go look after Hania. I don't need you, Ayat burst out. What nonsense are you talking about here? Mohsan said, confused. You're cheating on me. You've taken advantage of my innocence, and I was foolish enough to trust you. You don't love me. Your love is for Hania, Ayat said, sobbing. You think I'm cheating on you? Is that what you think? Mohsan's tone turned serious. Ayat said nothing, simply glaring at him. Mohsan moved closer, his voice steady and calm. You think I love Hania? If she were my love, then she would be my wife instead of you. Whatever I want I make mine. And Ayat, I have made you mine, he said, looking straight into her eyes. Ayat cleared her tears with a weak smile, then glared at him. You can't fool me anymore, Mr. Mohsan Khan. I know you're just stringing us along. If you don't love Hania, then you're still deceiving her like you did me, she said bitterly. A look of confusion crossed Mohsam's face as he tried to keep his composure. And you accuse me of playing with hearts and bodies? You have no idea who I am, Mohsan said with a look of sadness.